Hello VC, Big Star 1000, Gimme Ten, 1983, and quite a strange array of records today, and finishing off with something a little bit off kilter. So stick to the end. You might enjoy. And so we got 10 records as usual. It was hard to choose properly, but I did my best. And if you disagree, make a video, do something. Otherwise, just give me some comments and um, interact with me, of course. I've got one CD and nine records. So I'll start with the CD. The very first album I want to feature is R.E.M's Murmur, which is basically R.E.M's debut album. Which do I really need to talk too much about this album? Uh, it's a fabulous album from start to finish. Very different to the later REM, Automatic for the People, or Out of Time, or Monster, or anything that they did after. It's got a lot more of a slightly post-punk attitude to the music. Not that it's not a post-punk record. Obviously, it's not. It's a jangle pop record. I would say this is closer to jangle pop, but it's got some aspects of post punk, and it begins with Radio Free Europe, which is one of the best songs. And Talk About the Passion, Perfect Circle, Catapult, cover. There She Goes Again, Velvet Underground. It's great. Band from Athens, Georgia, as you know. And I'll continue with another classic that everybody probably will mention or want to mention. I'm talking about Swordfish Trombones by Tom Waits, which is the beginning of a great sort of trilogy. That and Rain Dogs and Frank's Wild Years. Three top-notch records, probably the highlight of Tom Waits' career, really. Shore Leave, fantastic. Shore Leave, Underground, just the whole thing. Frank's Wild Years. Mixing this kind of Captain Beefheart-esque sound aesthetics with, some sort of Berlin cabaret from the 1920s, and a sort of a slightly jazzy attitude. It's kind of a it's Tom Waits. What can you say? Okay, I'm going to continue. Sorry, I'm just going to drag the records this way. I'm going to continue with. Oh yeah, let's continue with another classic from that year. Talking Heads, Speaking in Tongues. I think, in my opinion, Talking Heads' last great album. Although the production style is very different, it's very much more an 80s album than say Remain Light or the preceding. Well, obviously the preceding albums were not 80s albums; they were 70s albums. But Remain Light was from 1980. And this is really sort of the production sound on this is very different, very the drums sound 80s, but nonetheless it's a great record. And if you haven't heard Burning Down a House, or Girlfriend is Better, or Pull Up the Roots, which is amazing, you need this album. It's amazing. Speaking in Tongues. All right, I'll move to England. Let's show you a few English records. This is, to me, the best thing that Matt Johnson ever did. Dada with Soul Mining. A beautiful, beautiful record. Such a classy, elegant art pop. It's just faultless, really. And songs like Uncertain Smile, for example, or the title track Soul Mining, just just epitomize the kind of very very top shelf, high quality songwriting by Matt Johnson, who, as I said, is a genius, and I would highly recommend this album, uh, Soul Mining. Um, Here's probably an album that's probably flown under the radar of a lot of people, and I think, well, in my opinion, is the best album that this band ever did, and I'm talking about Dazzle Ships by OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Uh, this is probably the sort of the lesser known side of OMD, and this is really where they take their experimental side to the fore. And I just love everything about it. The cover. If you've never seen a Dazzle ship before, Google it. The pattern there, you'll understand what that all means. And I don't know. It's almost like they were trying to do Kid A 30 years before. It's that kind of you know experimental album, but done by a pop group, basically. Dazzle Ships, OMD. Okay, well, I could have gone with something else, but I really do like this record. I have no shame in saying it. Tears for Fears, The Hurting. Um, this is Tears for Fears' first album, debut album, and I think almost every song is memorable on this. I mean, everybody knows Mad World. You know, Mad World has been played to death, but just about everything on this is so it's a classic, really. Listen to the opening track, The Hurting, and see if you don't remember it after playing it. Obviously, I don't think I need to talk about Tears for Fears. And personally, I don't rate their big album, the songs from the big chair, very much. I think it's just like bombastic 80s. But on this, they were very much a sort of beginning band, and it works really well. Here's another record from England, fabulous record, post-punk album. The Chameleons, Script of the Bridge. If you like post-punk and if you want some really high quality post-punk, I highly recommend that you pick this album up. The band fronted, what's this guy's name? Mark something something. I can't remember his name. Mark someone. And what does it sound like? I don't know, a little bit of Killing Joke, I guess, a little bit of tiny bit of Joy Division. Yeah, mostly Killing Joke. It's a bit Susie and the Banshees-esque at times. The Chameleons. Script of the Bridge. Do not hesitate. It's quite fantastic. Okay, three more. We might make it to 10 minutes. This is just an exquisite album. This is Ben Watt's North Marine Drive. Ben Watt is half of Everything But the Girl. Shout out to my friend James Battery, who loves this album as well. And in fact, we went to see Ben Watt together, and he got his copy of the album signed. I should have brought mine as well, but well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, really. This is a solo, mostly a solo, not acoustic, but a solo singer-songwriter. Lots of acoustic electric guitar on this. It's just beautiful. It really is. He plays semi-acoustic and acoustic guitar, piano, and vocals. There's a little bit of saxophone there, and that's it. It's very sparse. It's on Cherry Red, came out in '83, and Big Star 1000 says it's highly recommended. Now you know, I'm just kidding. You know that. I love it. I love this record. It's great. Second last is well-known record. Koiniskatsi. Koiniskatsi. Life in Motion. From the Hopi language. Crazy Life. Life Disintegrating. Life Out of Balance. A movie that has got no talking. It's a silent movie with the essential soundtrack by one Philip Glass. A huge orchestra there. As you can see how many names are there. And this is, kind of one of post minimalism greatest recordings. Really, you must own this record. If you don't, you need to. It's orchestral, but in in this sort of idiosyncratic Philip Glass type of way, and it is a minimal record, but played with an orchestra, obviously. And last but not least, thought I'd pull something more interesting to finish off with. Not that those records were not interesting. I keep getting comments of people saying, "Oh, the records you're showing for the '80s, they're so, mainstream or whatever." Well, yeah, they're great records. What can I say? So let's do something for the people think I'm boring. Is Mariah, and this is Utuka. What's the name of this record? Utukata no Hibi. Utukata no Hibi. That's right. Japanese record. Now, there's a really interesting story with Mariah. This is obviously from 1983. It was reissued last year or the year before. So it's a Japanese band, and this record is a mix of Japanese and Armenian music. Yes, you've heard it correctly, from Armenia. So it's kind of you'd imagine something very folklore, very ethnic, rootsy, and yet this is the best record the Talking Heads never made. I'll put a link to one of the songs. This is so driving, and it's ethnic music, but that sounds like art rock from New York. Really, it just does. And it's quite extraordinary. Mariah. I'll repeat the name of the album. Utakata no Hibi. That's right. I'll put a link underneath, and you can listen to it for yourself. So here you go. I hope I didn't take too much of your time, and I'll be back for Revolutions next week. See you soon.